trade rumors are really starting to escalate surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers as a brand new report has dropped surrounding the Lakers targeting former Laker Kyle Kuzma. We're going to break down exactly what the report is and discuss what it means going forward for this team. But before we get into it, if you're part of the 83% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Los Angeles Lakers content. So if you're enjoying that daily content, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of trade talks to go over today, specifically surrounding the Lakers and former Los Angeles Laker Kyle Kuzma. We'll also dive into some other trade reports, trade rumors, and everything like that as well. So there's a lot to go over in today's video, but we can start with this. And again, take it with a grain of salt. This is from NBA Trade Report. The Lakers are at the forefront of the Kyle Kuzma sweepstakes, with the Wizards dealing at least one first-round pick. Heat are in the mix, but Lakers appear to be the most aggressive so far per NBA Trade Report. How would you feel about Kuzma returning to LA? So we'll start with that. Let us know down below what your thoughts are initially on the Lakers potentially looking at getting Kyle Kuzma back. Now, obviously, he has had some very good years with the Washington Wizards, and we'll dive into his stats and what a trade will look like. But we can look at his stats here. Obviously, he was traded away from the Lakers back in 2020. And since going to the Wizards, obviously the Wizards are a very poor team, so he's had a lot of opportunities to, be the number one, number two option, depending on how you view Jordan Poole and things like that, and Bradley Beal earlier on in his career there. But 22 points a game last season before 21 points a game. He's been a very solid kind of stretch for a guy. And this season, he's only played 12 games, battling with some injuries, and 15 points, 5 rebounds. He's been okay. And Kyle Kuzma has always been kind of a guy who's not a very good defender by any means, by any metric, not a good defender whatsoever. But what he can do is score the ball and really help stretch the floor. I mean, this season he's struggling from the three-point line. He's shooting about 5 of them a game at a 27% clip, which is something that you never really want to see. But you think about last year and the season before, he shot around league average at 6 to 7 attempts a game. And as you start to look at how he would fit onto the Lakers team, this is where it gets very interesting. And his contract isn't great. It would be probably, for the Lakers to go out and acquire Kyle Kuzma, the reason they would do so is in theory to help, stretch the floor alongside LeBron, stretch the floor alongside, other players on the team. I mean, you think about how this team is currently structured. Obviously, these starters are not. We've seen a bunch of different lineups. JJ Redick toys with the lineups all the time. Now, if you add Kyle Kuzma into the lineup, I mean, you already have Rui Hachimura, you have LeBron James, you have AD, you have a bunch of guys who are big and can play multiple positions, especially in the the forward group. We know Kyle Kuzma is an interesting player, but JJ Redick, we also know he came out and basically highlighted what the team's needs are, and those needs are what he wanted is a point of attack defender, which Kyle Kuzma is not. Point of attack defender, obviously a guy who can guard the best player, essentially, or at least the ball handler on the opposing team. And Kyle Kuzma is not that whatsoever. He also said he wants someone who can shoot the three and play some defense. Kuzma can shoot the three. Kuzma can definitely shoot the three. He is not a very good defender by any means, but according to this report, the Lakers are the most aggressive so far in the trade. Whether you're looking at it in the sense of, you have to shed salary. D'Angelo Russell has been included in a lot of these trades. Gabe Vince has been included in a lot of these trades. So let me know down below exactly what kind of trade you would be willing to, or what kind of package you'd be willing to offer to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for a guy like Kyle Kuzma, who his value is, it's interesting at the time. You see this here. Last season, Washington wanted 2 first-round picks, but recent whispers indicate they might now settle for 1 pick alongside a promising prospect. As their trade deadline looms, the Lakers join the likes of Miami and the Kings in pursuit of Kuzma, potentially presenting themselves as a serious contender to reacquire him. However, as we know here as Lakers fans, however, it's clear that simply landing Kuzma may not suffice to elevate the Lakers' fortunes. The organization may also need to preserve another first-round pick to facilitate further trades, coupling their efforts to construct a roster. So there's some advantages. Obviously, he's a former Laker. Maybe can get used to the system. That being said, I'm sure JJ Redick has a much different system than the Lakers had back when Kyle Kuzma was there. However, it does make a little bit of sense. And we know Washington was very adamant about getting 2 first-round picks last year at the trade deadline. And that obviously is because he was averaging 22 a game. He was having the best season of his career. But now, a bit of an injury-prone season. He's not playing nearly as well. He's only averaging 15 points a game. And he's also not shooting the ball nearly as well. And what that kind of leads to is ultimately them now being willing to settle for a first-round pick. And I want to ask you all, if you are the Lakers, and I mean a first-round pick and a promising prospect, if you are the Lakers, do you give up a guy like, or a first-round pick and then one of your promising prospects? Now, you're obviously not giving up Dalton Connect. That's absurd. And the Lakers don't have a ton of promising prospects, that would be super appealing to other teams. So maybe a guy like Max Christie, something like that. I don't know if the Wizards would necessarily want a guy like Max Christie, but we've seen some, rumblings of Kyle Kuzma and Max Christie, potentially being swapped there. And of course, your first round pick. But if you're the Lakers and you have a lot of different, targets you're looking to acquire here, giving up your first round pick for Kyle Kuzma, who definitely doesn't solve all of their problems and may not even solve their biggest problem of, defense, it is questionable at the least. But maybe they're a huge fan of Kuzma, and the first round pick that they would be giving up isn't, a huge deal to them because they think Kyle Kuzma can be a part of a bigger package going forward, in the sense of they get Kuzma and then they also go out and get another player. They're also interested in Lonzo Ball, which Chicago is seeking multiple second-round picks. He's an expiring deal at this point at $21.4 million per year. So they're trying to bring all the former Lakers back from the Lonzo trade, and of course Kyle Kuzma as well. So it's interesting. You have other reports and rumors circulating from Jovan Buha coming out from him saying Jonas Valanciunas, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith. Now those are guys, specifically Cam Johnson and DFS, that are more up the alley of what JJ Redick said the Lakers need, and what, of course, we can visually see the Lakers need. A 3-and-D wing, a guy who can guard the ball. I think Cam Johnson would be a great fit. However, he would cost a first-round pick. He would absolutely cost a first-round pick, at least according to reports. So if you give up your first-round pick for a guy like Kyle Kuzma, then you're starting to struggle a little bit, because then you don't necessarily have as many assets now to go out and pivot to a guy like Cam Johnson, a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith. And there's a world where they want to acquire both of these guys. There's been some mock trades going around where they acquire both Dorian Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson, and of course, giving up D'Lo and things like that to match the salary, D'Lo and Gabe Vincent. So ultimately, it's at the point now where things are starting to get interesting for the Lakers. We know a move is going to be on the horizon. They're going to make a move. It's just a matter of if it's going to be a guy like a pretty big swing in Kyle Kuzma, especially given how he's played over the past few seasons, albeit this season has been significantly worse than previous ones, but also how they pivot to some of these other targets. Because you look at their schedule ahead, they obviously play tonight against the Kings, have a bit of an easy schedule coming up over the next few games, but then, of course, you play Golden State, you play Cleveland. So as this trade deadline nears closer and closer, inches closer and closer, and starts to loom here, the Lakers might have a higher sense of urgency surrounding making a trade for one of these guys, depending on how things work out. Again, we've seen JJ Redick toy with a bunch of lineups. We've seen him run with Max Christie, with D'Angelo Russell at all these three, Reaves, Christie, and D'Lo starting. You have Dalton Connect going in. He started for a long period of time there, and he was hot. So a lot of different things, but as you look at this depth, it's not good. Gabe Vincent hasn't really been playable. Christie does good things at times, but hasn't really done too much, averaging around 5 points a game, but we've saw some flashes. So maybe adding a guy like Kuzma, who has his role a bit more defined, could be very useful for this team. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on the potential trade, as well as, some of these other targets here, where we'll keep you up to date with all the latest Los Angeles Lakers news. So make sure you stay subscribed if you want to stay up to date with that. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next video.